to the hive, a feeding place with sugar syrup is set up and then moved several paces away from it, together with the sucking bees. They are hardly disturbed by this, and later return to the new feeding place. The foraging bees are so absorbed in feeding that they can easily be marked with a fine hair brush. These bees with the white marking are subsequently identifiable in the hive as foragers coming from a near distance. Back at the hive, each forager gives up the collected food to other hive mates. Then she begins to dance a round dance, which takes her in circles, alternately clockwise and anti-clockwise. This round dance informs the follower bees that a source of food is available in the close vicinity. It urges the recruits to swarm out and forage near the hive. During the round dance, the forager describes circles, alternately to the left and right. The experimenter removes the feeding table in easy stages ever further from the hive. He is now approaching the 100-meter mark, accompanied by several bees which have followed him. These bees are now marked with a blue spot. Returning home from a feeding place 100 meters away, the bees clearly show the transition from the round dance to a waggle dance. The dancer wags her body vigorously from side to side, making about 15 swings per second. This directional waggle run is performed between two loops. Two essential pieces of information imparted by the waggle dance concern the direction to and distance from the food source. First, the indication of distance. Both the duration of each waggle run, as well as the number of waggle runs per unit of time, indicate the distance from the food source. What follows is an investigation of the indication of distance in 4 stages. To this end, the number of runs in the arbitrarily selected time unit of 15 seconds is counted as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, a feeding place at a distance of 100 meters is indicated by 10 wagging runs per quarter minute. Now a distance of 200 meters has been reached over stubble fields and beet allotments. The foragers at this distance from the hive are given yellow group markings. The waggle dance now becomes more prominent. It takes longer, and the directional waggle runs follow one another at wider intervals. Again, the number of runs for each quarter minute is counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we now have only 8 runs every 15 seconds, 2 less waggle runs than at 100 meters distance. So, 4 norm values have been calculated for distance indication. The number of waggle runs per 15-second unit are plotted on the graph against the distance. 10 waggle runs at 100 meters, 8 at 200 meters, 6 at 500 meters, 5 waggle runs at 1,000 meters, distance from the source of food. An asymptotic curve is traced. Follow-up experiments confirm the further tendency of the curve. At 10,000 meters, the bees no longer find it worthwhile to alarm their hive mates. The dances are discontinued. The outer limits of the foraging area of a bee are at 12,000 meters. This correlation is now illustrated diagrammatically. At 8:30 in the morning, a foraging bee flies towards a source of food due south of the hive. The sun's position is east-southeast. The flight path of the bee runs some 80 degrees to the right of the sun. On her return to the hive, the wagging run of her dance on the vertical comb accordingly measures 80 degrees to the right of the perpendicular. So the bee transmits the information that the feeding place is 80 degrees to the right of the sun. In the course of the day, the sun's relative position changes. The angle between it and the food source narrows. During the waggle dance, the angle between the perpendicular and the waggle run direction on the vertical comb diminishes correspondingly. When the noonday sun is due south of the experimental feeding place, the bee dances straight upwards on the plumb line. She thus informs the recruits that the food source is in the direction of the sun, that is, due south. In the afternoon, the angle between sun position and food source increases in the opposite direction. Correspondingly, the direction of the bee's straight run moves anti-clockwise. Round about 16:30 hours, the forager dances some 80 degrees to the left of the perpendicular, which corresponds with a flight route to the food source 80 degrees to the left of the sun. Now the dancer shows that the feeding place is to the left of the sun. During the course of the day, with constant source of food, the straight waggle run on the vertical comb alters with the same angular velocity as the sun's relative position alters. So, the bee transposes the angle between flight path and sun position to the Earth's field of gravity. To demonstrate that the recruits have understood and act upon the information imparted by the dance, several of them have been marked with white dots. The time is 10 a.m. The observer at the 1,000-meter feeding place records whether white-marked recruits arrive there. 10:40. 40 minutes later, the first follower bees show up. Without further help, they have found the source of food from the information imparted by the dancing bees. In its precision and the wide variety of information conveyed, the dance of the honeybee represents a unique form of communication in the animal kingdom. As it makes use of symbolic signals, and the communication takes place at spatial removal from the source of food indicated, the dance of the honeybee must even be conceded to exhibit some of the basic elements of a genuine language.